Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be discussing my Week 6 waiver wire ads for fantasy football in 2020. We are going to be going over running backs, wide receivers, as well as tight ends. In this video, some that I think are good stashes for your bench, some guys that you may not want to be able to play in week number 6, but may be good for the future. There's some guys that you can play right now, slot them straight into your lineup, and be looking very good for week number 6. Then there's some guys that are stashes, not because they're like bad or you gotta like wait a little bit of time for them to, hatch and be wonderful for your lineup. No, they have bye weeks because we are in bye week season. Week 4, there was a bye week, obviously, but it wasn't what was supposed to happen. There wasn't supposed to be buys, but 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we are in the bye week hell of fantasy football. So we got to make sure that you guys are prepared. Got to make sure that you bring the rubber with you to your fantasy football bedroom so that you can use it on your opponent. Week 6 waiver wire ads. But before I get into these waiver wire ads, I'd like to ask that if you guys do end up enjoying this video, to please make sure to hit that subscribe button, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. And real quick, before I get into it as well, I'd like to give you guys a word from my friends and my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com is the best way to play daily fantasy sports on the internet. They have this new thing that they introduced this year called the Matchup Shop, and you can play it tonight on Tuesday night. The Buffalo Bills going up against the Tennessee Titans. All you have to do, it's so simple. You pick a player versus another player in their fantasy matchup. Who scores more points head-to-head plus the spread? So who do you think scores more points? Stephon Diggs -1 point or Devin Singletary +1 fantasy point? It's that simple. It's basically fantasy football for dummies. It's so simple. I'm a dummy. I can do it. You guys are wicked smart, just like they say in that movie. Make sure you guys play. It's a very fun time. It's very simple, and you guys are going to be winning some big bucks today on Tuesday night. And we are back. Please make sure you guys check out OverlayDFS.com. Link down below in the description. Let's get right into it. Week 6 waiver wire ads. We begin here with Alexander Mattison, running back of the Minnesota Vikings, going up against the Atlanta Falcons this week. Now, Alexander Mattison was a guy that I was talking about stashing on your bench if you have Dalvin Cook. And if you didn't have Dalvin Cook, someone may have ended up dropping him, so I would have assumed you hopefully picked him up. But if you're the Dalvin Cook owner, you need to pay the fucking ransom for it. You need to, I don't even know what a good explanation of this is, but you need to put everything you can into getting Alexander Mattison, because Dalvin Cook is likely going to miss week 6 and could miss more weeks beyond that with that hurt groin. Now, Alexander Mattison went into this spot about halfway through this game after Cook went down and played to perfection. Up against the Seattle Seahawks, obviously not the greatest run defense, but this week they're playing the Atlanta Falcons, who literally could not stop you. You could suit up. You could be like, motherfucker, give me the helmet, give me the pads, I'm running for 100 yards. You could do that up against the Atlanta Falcons. Week 5 up against the Seattle Seahawks, 20 rushes for 112 yards, 3 receptions, 3 targets, 3 for 3, like a fucking free throw, 24 receiving yards, 16.6 PPR points, and 15.1 half PPR points in half of a game. So if this guy's available in your league for a couple of weeks, Alexander Mattison's going to be a locked and loaded starter in your fantasy football lineup as long as Dalvin Cook does miss time. Now, right now, we're kind of unsure if he misses week 6, but it seems like he is going to. Obviously, as you guys are watching this on Tuesday, there may be more reports as the day goes on for you to figure out if Dalvin Cook is going to be missing time or not. They actually said they would let us know today, so hopefully we can go ahead and figure that out. But with that said, if Dalvin Cook is going to miss time, which I expect him to, Alexander Mattison is easily the best pickup of the week at any position, due to the fact that this guy is going to be locked and loaded as a top 12 running back likely in your lineup as the weeks go on without Dalvin Cook. Next running back to add is Damien Harris, running back of the New England Patriots. Now, he was a guy that was a big part of my waiver wire video last week, but his game ended up getting canceled up against the Denver Broncos and got moved to this week. So there are going to be people in your league who likely picked him up to start this week, or last week, I should say, in week 5, and may have ended up dropping him. So this week, he goes up against the Denver Broncos, which is the same matchup that should have been last week, but it ended up getting moved, and Cam Newton will likely play in this game to even further boost up Damien Harris's stats. Week 4 up against the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, 17 rushes, 100 rushing yards, 10 PPR points, and 10 half PPR points, obviously, because he did not not get a single reception. Now, that will likely be true in this game as well, and if he was to get a reception, I would say the odds are probably that he gets like 1 or 2. I highly doubt he surpasses a target or 2 in these games, considering James White is there for a reason, and that's to be the pass-catching running back on the team. But that does not undersell Damien Harris's value. This guy could be punching in touchdowns and getting a zillion rushes in these games. When Cam Newton is healthy, it is very scary to try to figure out if Cam's going to take it or if the running back's going to take it. And with Sony Michel likely missing this game, that means that Damien Harris is in for some solid workload here up against the Denver Broncos, my second favorite running back to pick up on the week. At number 3, we have Call Me Miss Jackson, Justin Jackson, running back of the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, they are on a bye this week, so understand that if you're picking him up, he is more of a stash play because you can't obviously play him when he's on his bye. Well, you can, but he's going to get you a big fat 0 in your lineup. Now, I am recording this on Monday night so that you guys can see this early in Tuesday morning, so the website that I use to get my fantasy football data does not tell me how many carries that Justin Jackson had because it didn't update for the Monday games yet, but he had 71 rushing yards, 23 receiving yards, and 14.10 PPR points. He scored way more fantasy points than Mr. Joshua Kelly scored for the Los Angeles Chargers. So it seems like Justin Jackson is the real deal. He also got more touches in that game than him. So I'd be very worried if you're the Joshua Kelly owner. Now, would I say to drop him, cut him, run for the hills? No, I would not say that. But I would say that it's going to be a lot more closer to a 50-50 split than you probably would have wanted as the Joshua Kelly owner. So while Austin Eckler is missing time, probably missing another 4 or 5 weeks potentially, Justin Jackson could very well be worthy of a start week number 7 when he comes back off of the bye. Next guy here is running back Cam Akers of the Los Angeles Rams. This week going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, last week, the Miami Dolphins running back Carol Gaskin, a.k.a. Myles Gaskin, the actual guy's name, was slicing and dicing like Gordon Ramsay in the fucking kitchen through that 49ers defense, and I think Cam Akers may be able to do the same thing. Now, a lot of people drive Cam Akers after his disappointing start to the season, then he gets hurt, he misses a bunch of games. Now, he is back. Understand this is a shit show in LA for the Rams, where you're not really going to want to know which running back to play on a weekly basis, but you stash him on your team. He's not a guy I would likely want to play this week, but I think he's a guy that if an injury was to go on ahead of him, Henderson, 43.9% of the snaps week 5 up against the Washington football team, 37.9% of the snaps went to Malcolm Brown, and Akers got a measly 18.2%, but if someone ahead of him was to go down, and in a year where random-ass corona could just get a guy, now knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is that could happen, and Cam Akers could get a much bigger role in this offense, and the Rams offense has been very good to Darrell Henderson recently, so maybe that'll be Cam Akers down the stretch, so he's definitely worthy of a guy that likely may be available on your waiver wire to pick up, stash on the bench, let him ride the nice pine, and then eventually, maybe something ahead of him will it will go astray, it will get fucked up, and then Cam Akers is going straight in your lineup and fucking up your opponent. Week 5 up against the Washington football team, though, Cam Akers had 9 attempts for 61 rushing yards, 6.1 PPR points, and 6.1 half PPR points. Obviously not very involved in the pass-catching game, but if someone was to go down in front of him, he definitely would be, since he was used that way in college. Next running back here, we got Chase Edmonds, running back of the Arizona Cardinals, going up against the Dallas Cowboys this week in Jerry's World. It should say at Dallas, but I'm not going to go back in and edit that. Chase Edmonds is going up against the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World, the Dak Prescott-less Dallas Cowboys. Now, Chase Edmonds has kind of been a guy that has played good in multiple weeks of this season, but you almost want to bench him due to the fact that Kenyon Drake is still there, right? But it seems like Kenyon Drake is completely washed up this season. This motherfucker was like in the ocean dead and rolled up on the beach, and he's just fucking dead there, and then there's a bunch of people taking pictures of him. That's what that's what Kenyon Drake is. Sure, he scored a touchdown last week, but this guy is fried. He is no longer the Kenyon Drake that I would have wanted this season. Now, am I telling you to cut him? No. I'm telling you that Chase Edmonds is definitely worthy if you are in a shitty spot for your fantasy team, if you're in bye week hell, if you're in this, in that, there's injuries, all that stuff could happen. Chase Edmonds is worthy of a pickup and potentially worthy of a start this week up against the Dallas Cowboys. We saw Devontae Freeman go to pound town on that that fucking Dallas ass. So I think Chase Edmonds may be able to put up a solid game here up against the Cowboys. Week 5 up against the New York Football Jets. Only 3 rushes for 36 yards, and by quick mathematics, 12, 24, 36, that's 12 a carry for Chase Edmonds. 1 rushing touchdown, 5 receptions, 6 targets, and 56 receiving yards for 20.2 PPR points and 17.7 half PPR points. Majority of the season, he's been outscoring Kenyon Drake. The problem is that Kenyon Drake is just listed as the running back 1, so it's some mental warfare when you try to go against your head's shooting back at you, your brain is shooting at your brain, mental warfare here to try to start Chase Edmonds. But what I'm telling you is that Chase Edmonds is definitely worthy of an ad, and this week up against the Dallas Cowboys, he is worthy of a play. And if Kenyon Drake was to go down, knock on wood, we hope that don't happen, but if he was to get hurt, Chase Edmonds would be worthy of playing on a weekly basis. Now into the wide receiver section of the video. If you guys have ended up enjoying thus far through all these running backs, you're like, you know what, Nick, this was excelente, as they would say in Espanol. This is a great time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and if you're not new, make sure you hit that like button. So Titty Boy T. Higgins, first wide receiver to talk about here of the Cincinnati Bengals, going up against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, AJ Green has fallen, and he cannot get up. It appears he may be missing some serious time this season. He also was sitting on the bench telling the fucking Cincinnati Bengals to trade his ass. He's like, I'm done playing here. You're done playing here. Come on, AJ Green. You're fucking as useful as a broken condom right now, and you want out of there? No one's going to want to trade for your ass. You're going to be stuck in Cincinnati, but he is kind of banged up, so maybe he misses this game. But T. Higgins has been balling out of control, as Future would say. Week 5 up against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, with Cincinnati getting absolutely ass-fucked in this one without the use of any lube. Still put up a solid game, 4 receptions, 8 targets, 62 receiving yards, 10.2 PPR points, and 8.2 half PPR points. So obviously, not the game that you call home. You're like, Mom, guess what? I won my fantasy matchup because T. Higgins scored 10 fucking PPR points. No, you didn't do that, but T. Higgins still played pretty good, and this week he gets the Indianapolis Colts, and we saw Browns, Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry look pretty good up against the Indianapolis Colts defense. So I think the T. Higgins and the Cincinnati Bengals are kind of on the up and up. Now, obviously, the Ravens are a very tough defense to play against, so I didn't expect too much out of Titty Boy Higgins last week, but I think he will continue on the path to success next week. Next guy, we got Mike Williams, wide receiver of the Los Angeles Chargers. Sadly, they are on bye. Talked about that a bit earlier. This guy was balling out of control. Now, obviously, they're on bye this week, so maybe Keenan Allen does end up returning before their next game in week number 7, but Mike Williams was looking like he was getting peppered Salt Bay style for Justin Herbert the pervert. I was going to dub Justin Herbert as Horsecock Herbert if he won that game. They ended up losing. Not his fault, really, because they doinked it straight on the fucking field goal post, which was very disappointing for some people. It's okay with me, though. Mike Williams is going to be a very good asset in fantasy football. He has been banged up, I understand, but now that he's healthy, he was getting used heavily in this game. Now, again, I don't have the target numbers for Mike Williams, but he did play quite well. 109 receiving yards, 2 total tutties, and 31.9 PPR points for big man Mike Williams in that game. The announcer in the game said it best. I believe you throw 50-50 balls to Mike Williams, and he catches them 100% of the time. This guy legitimately took a defender, mossed him, threw him into the ground, fucked him in the ass, dug him a grave, threw him in the grave, and scored 31 points in this game. Mike Williams is dangerous. He is so good, and I think Mike Williams is going to be worthy of starting as the weeks continue to go on after his bye. Next guy here, Chase Claypool, the beautiful man from week number 5, who eviscerated that Philadelphia Eagles defense. He is on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he is going up against the Cleveland Browns this week in week numero 5. Just kidding, it's week 6. Like I said, Chase Claypool ran a train individually on the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I know I make jokes about how guys are going to form an Eiffel Tower over a team, which is where 2 people high-five over someone. One guy gets the mouth, the other guy gets the ass or the whatever you're talking about on a woman/man that this Eiffel Tower is occurring on. Now, this was a Eiffel Tower by 2 clones of Chase Claypool, because this motherfucker didn't score 1 touchdown. He didn't score 2 touchdowns. He didn't score 3 touchdowns. I don't even have it on the screen. This motherfucker scored 4 touchdowns because he had a rushing touchdown as well. 7 receptions, 11 targets, 110 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown that's not even on the screen for 42.6 PPR points and 39.1 half PPR points. This guy went to town on that Eagles ass. How about them Eagles? Chase Claypool. Now, I do worry about his production going forward. What happens if Deontay Johnson is healthy? Now, Deontay Johnson has been banged up not 1, but 2 games in a row. So I'm very worried about Deontay Johnson's health issues because this motherfucker keeps dying. If Deontay Johnson misses time, Chase Claypool is a locked and loaded top 24 running back or wide receiver. This guy is scoring touchdowns left and right in every single game, and this guy is so dangerous going up the field. Big Ben loves to throw the ball his way, and I expect him to have a pretty big game up against the Cleveland Browns if Deontay Johnson is missing. Next guy here of my Miami Dolphins, Preston Williams, wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins, going up against the New York Football Jets this week. Now, Preston Williams has been a guy that's been on this waiver wire show for the past couple of weeks, but he's been a guy where I was like, you know what, you can stash him. I would not suggest playing him because I want to see him do it for multiple weeks in a row. He's had 1 good game and then 3 kind of not so hot games, but in this game, the man was on fucking fire up against the San Francisco 49ers. 4 receptions on 5 targets, almost 4 for 4, like at Wendy's, 106 receiving yards, 1 total tutty, 20.6 PPR points, and 18.6 half PPR points. It is very clear that this Dolphins offense is going to be electric, and this week they play one of the worst teams your eyes have ever seen in the New York Football Jets, and Preston Williams is going to be doing the dirty bird in the end zone like his name is Deion fucking Sanders. He is going to go balls deep in that Jets ass. You better believe it. Preston Williams, love him this week. Love him for the future. Thank you, Preston Williams, for proving me right, for liking you this season, even if it took 5 fucking weeks of the season. Next guy here, we got Mecole Hardman, wide receiver of the Kansas City Chiefs, going up against the Buffalo Bills on Monday night in Buffalo. Now, if there were fans allowed in this game, I would expect multiple dildos to get thrown at Patrick Mahomes in this one, but they're not allowing the fans, obviously. Mecole Hardman has a good opportunity here now. Sammy Watkins is expected to miss multiple weeks with an injury last week up against the Las Vegas Raiders. In that loss, he had 2 receptions on 3 targets for 50 yards at 7 PPR points, so I understand, again, nothing to really write home about. Mom, Mecole Hardman scored me 7 PPR points. Yeah, you're not going to be doing that, but with Sammy Watkins gone, that puts a new, clean spot, pristine spot on one of the best offenses in the NFL is vacated. Vacated. Completely open for Mecole Hardman's taking, and I think he's the one that steps up and plays big here for the future of the Kansas City Chiefs as long as Sammy Watkins is gone. Now, next wide receiver here, we got another man who's fast as fuck. Shout out to Lightning McQueen, wide receiver of the Las Vegas Raiders, Henry Ruggs. The Raiders are also on a bye this week, but understand with Ruggs, you're going to pick him up, but this guy is like, it's like a dice roll, a dart throw in your lineup. Like, you're going to play Ruggs, right? And he's either going to get you 3 points or he's going to fuck your opponent up, hit him with the 1-2 Mayweather, and score like 20 to 25 points. Last week up against the Raiders. Oh, he's on the Raiders, just kidding, up against the Chiefs in that win. 2 receptions, 3 targets, 118 yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 19.8 PPR points, or 18.9 half PPR points. So that was a very big game, but he only gets targeted a couple of times, but he's that big play player, the triple P, and he's going to be giving your opponent the double P, the PP, if you play him in your lineup on those weeks where he's going to hit. Now, it's going to be very hard to determine what weeks you want to be starting Henry Ruggs. But with that said, he could be a guy that's worthy of putting on your bench and him potentially keep on developing into that wide receiver that is much more used in the offense and much more easy to put in your fantasy football lineup. Now onto the tight end section of the video. Again, if you guys ended up enjoying, you're clapping it up like Jason Garrett. You're like, you know what, Nick, this is a work of art. Picasso with the pen, but it's Picasso with his mouth talking about fantasy football. That's what I am. That made no sense. But with that said, please hit that subscribe button if you ended up enjoying. Robert Tonyan, tight end of the Green Bay Packers, going up against Tampa Bay Tom Brady in Tampa Bay this week. Now, Robert Tonyan had a bye last week, but week number 4 on Monday night gave a railroading to the Atlanta Falcons defense. 6 receptions, 6 targets, 98 receiving yards, and not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns. Eat a W, Jameis Winston style, 33.8 PPR points and 30.8 half PPR points. This guy is amazing for the Green Bay Packers. This is like Jimmy Graham and Drew Brees back in the day type deal. I was going to say Jimmy Graham and Aaron Rodgers type deal from back in the day, but if you guys remember, that didn't really work out all that well. It's more like Rodgers to, what was the other guy's name? It was Aaron Rodgers, and then there was another Rodgers who was on the team who caught some crazy catch, I believe, against the Cowboys. They used to have a nice connection, but Robert Tonyan is the real fucking deal. The RFD, RT, real fucking deal Robert Tonyan. This guy has been playing quite well the last couple of weeks, and I expect a marquee matchup here up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. Next guy is Dalton Schultz, tight end of the Dallas Cowboys, going up against the Arizona Cardinals this week in Jerry's World. Now, obviously, huge loss losing Dakota Prescott. Now with the Red Rocket, the Ginger Ninja, Andy Dalton is going to be starting at quarterback. Now he wasn't targeting Dalton Schultz all that much, but neither was Dak. In this one, just seemed like the tight end was kind of useless in this one. But Dalton Schultz has put up multiple good games in a row before. I think he steps back in the saddle this week up against the Arizona Cardinals and plays much better. Week 5 up against the New York Football Jets, again in Jerry's World. 1 reception, 3 targets, 6 receiving yards, 1.6 PPR points, and 1.1 PPR points. So that is a god-awful game. If you played him, you probably are pissed because this guy shit the bed or pissed the bed for your team. But I can promise you, up against the Arizona Cardinals, he ain't going to be pissing the bed next week. Final guy to add this week is Jimmy Graham, tight end of the Chicago Bears, going up against the Carolina Panthers. Now, week 5 up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday night. 9-inch Nick Foles and Jimmy Graham have that red zone connection, and he is getting looked at going up the field as well. 3 receptions up against the Bucs, 5 targets, 33 receiving yards, 1 tug, 12.3 PPR points, and 10.8 half PPR points. He got the tug in that game like Tom Brady's old friend Robert Kraft gets when he goes to go get a massage. So Jimmy Graham is definitely worthy of a pickup. I don't love him as much as the other 2 guys, but he's definitely worthy of a pickup if you're kind of searching deep down in the depths of hell for a tight end. So thank you guys all for watching this video. Again, if you ended up enjoying, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it. I would also appreciate if you guys came back later and watched another video. And I would also, most importantly, want to let you guys know that I hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' day. Whether you enjoyed this video or not, maybe you're like, you know what, Nick, you're an asshole. This video sucked ass. You made it this far. Make sure you have a great rest of your guys' day. That's the most important thing. Make sure you guys are feeling good. If you ever need anything, DM me on Twitter. If you're not feeling all right, I'll make sure to answer you. I really would appreciate you guys being all right. So thank you guys all for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you beautiful bastards later with another video. As always, goodbye!